Welcome to the Ray Festival live in Bulgaria and online wherever you are in the world.
Hello, hello,
Oh,
everybody, and hello, Lily.
hi.
Welcome to the Human Design Ray Festival 2024, live in Sofia, Bulgaria, and online worldwide. And we're bringing Lily all the way from the United States. Hi, we're so
Oh,
glad to have you and to share you with the world and with the
wow.
people who will come to the festival and watch this interview. We're super glad to have you. Actually, it's initiative we have next to all the lectures and workshops and different modalities we're bringing with the Human Design Festival and making a bridge between Rauruhu regional frequency and the people impacted first by him and their students who brought the knowledge even further. And then it's human design, it's about the real experiment, about really living it. So we thought to bring for you people from around the globe who have been immersed in the human design experiment and are really radical about it in their own unique way. And we just want to show you different people with their very unique perspectives. And yeah, so that we connect even further through the neutrino ocean. So
I
that's
love that.
um, why we have Lily here, and I'm very glad that she accepted my invitation. Lily,
Yeah.
hi. We met with you actually live during the Romanian festival
Yeah.
in 2019, right before the whole world went upside down. So we're very thankful for that meeting, actually, aren't we? It was amazing.
It's amazing. Being in Aura there's nothing like it. And so I'm really jealous for other people getting to go there, but it's a good kind of jealousy. So I'm so glad that this is happening.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it really is happening. And it's going to be so different because it's like a city festival compared to the other, which was like more with a holiday vibe. But this is also a winter kind of holiday vibe. So for the people who are coming live, but as we know, the neutrino travels fast, and we experienced during the pandemic the possibility to really connect to people also just by two senses, visual and audio, which is not the same, absolutely not. But still, it's a fantastic possibility for us to be able to communicate that way and to connect. It's something we couldn't imagine. Just
No.
what the internet is for 50 years now, or yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's grown. Um, yeah, I think it's very valuable, the internet, for people who can do this on Zoom or whatever kind of meeting room you're having on the internet. But I think that is just as valuable to receive the gifts and to actually hear the people's voices and to see their faces, and you feel like I see you and I feel like, oh, I'm here with you, and I it's not quite the same as an aura, but at the same time, I'll take it. I'll take anything I can get to connect with people in human design, especially around the world.
Yeah, it can be a long ride, huh?
Yeah, definitely long ride.
Yeah, but you're so lucky because your partner is also in human design. So
Yeah.
that's an
I am
amazing
lucky in that sense.
opportunity.
It would be I can't imagine. It would be very hard. I'm more probably immersed and radical, but I can at least speak it and share it. So it would be very hard otherwise for me. But when I came to Romania, um, both my grandparents came from Romania at the turn of the century, and I thought about the neutrinos, of like showing up in Romania, and then I went to each of their villages, and I kept thinking about those neutrinos passing through me and seeing cousins and people I've never met before, and how I was impacted and how they were impacted. And you just never know what's set loose or set free, once you're in aura somewhere. And it travels billions of light years once it passes through you, right? And so I thought, well, how appropriate to be in Eastern Europe, and I get to make a full circle back from where my grandparents came at the turn of the century. And so I wished I was there too, because there's just nothing like being in aura. So anyway, I'm done wishing. I'm not going to be, so just let it go.
Here with us in spirit, and actually that's why we're having this interview, so we can bring you to the festival.
Yeah, I appreciated the invitation.
Yeah, and when you mentioned that how your ancestors come from Eastern Europe, and yeah, we're so connected, and right now it's the end of the era of the planning, and we're even more and more connected, and information gets more and more and more, and more details come, and we've never been so globalized in the entire history probably of mankind, and yet mm, in some respects we're so far from truth, huh? With so much looking for it, and then it's like an illusion because it's too much, the
Yeah,
information.
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really wondering what's gonna happen slowly, because apparently no change will come like from 1 second to the other, but we're already seeing everything crumbling down. And really, human design is for these times. It's for now. It was given for these times. Um, and I really wonder, how did you meet human design, and how did it come across your path? And yeah, what difference did it make in your life?
Well, I was trying to think, I think it was about 14 years ago. I was in Sedona, Arizona, and I was at a training for sexual healing and spiritual guidance. I was an assistant, and I met somebody. Do you know Tiara St. Clair?
Uh-huh, yeah, I do.
Well, she was there, and I first I saw her because she was catering the event, and we were staying at a house. And a friend, I'm a fourth line, so I just wanted to say that I'm a 2-4. A fourth, there was a friend's daughter came to our house and said, I'm having Tiara St. Clair do my human design chart. And if you want to give me your information, she'll come to the house and give you a reading. And I right away I went, okay. And everything inside me went, okay. I had no clue what I was saying yes to. And so Tiara came and she sat at the table, and she told Stephen, he's a manifester, and he heard what he wanted, and he got up and just went. And I just sat there going, oh my God, I'm a projector, I'm emotional, I'm a triple split. What does that all mean? And I'm emotional, and my emotions are unconscious. And so when she told me that, I can tell you, to this day, I jumped in, I didn't stop. And it felt like I was in this ocean, just bobbing up and down in the ocean. And there's this huge, what do you call those liners with thousands of people, boats with thousands of people, ocean liner.
Uh-huh.
And somebody threw me a lifesaver, and they pulled me aboard. That's how I felt. and that was the image. I'm inner vision as well. So that's what I saw. And
Like a
and
cruise ship.
yes, a cruise ship. And every cell in my body just knew this was right for me. And from then on, I started, of course, as a projector, started searching and researching. And yeah, from then on, the first thing that it helped me with was that I'm unconscious emotional. I have a 41-30. And when I asked, I didn't even realize I was emotional. And
Mhm.
I I asked my husband, I said, am I emotional? And he's undefined emotionally. And I could remember the shock on his face, like, what? You don't know that you are? It's like, and and I didn't know. I mean, I couldn't define it. And of course, you look back over time and of course now I see so much more after 14 years. And I needed those 14 years to decondition because I started very late in life. I was almost 59 years old. And so that's late. And I had done a lot of studying and a lot of self whatever, but this was the thing that gave me relief from my anxiousness, from my feeling like I was walking around in the dark and I couldn't see. And so with that, I just kept studying and I had some readings like with Randy Richmond, and which felt very fortunate, and with Genoa and um, Lasita and Darshana and Davir, very early days. And then I reconnected with Tiara about a year later, and we became very good friends. And so we talk human design all the time. And so what it has done for me is to actually relieve a lot of my anxiousness and my fear and about what's going on. Because I'm also a triple split, so I'm very slow to connect dots. And I've come to a great love of my slowness. Before, my mind would really mess with me a lot. Like now, why don't you know now? Like make a decision now and be spontaneous, do all that stuff. And it was so hard on my nervous system. So now it's like my body won't even move unless it's correct. Like to make a phone call or to say yes, it won't come out my mouth, even though I would try for the most part. And there's many times I don't even think about being a projector. I just am, you know, just being that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Uh-huh. It's very interesting when you say I don't even think about it anymore, because human design it starts as an experiment, but in reality it's just being aware of life going through your veins and living
Yeah.
it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think about it all the time only because I'm studying it, but as far as my own personal, I find that I don't even think about now about invitation or waiting or it's not that it's 100%. But boy, if something's not correct, it comes back to me right away. And uh, I feel it like within seconds, that, oh, wait, just a minute. And so I've been able recently to really watch more my mind in many different things, like with food or with people, and just or feelings, just watch what my mind is saying. And that is like, oh, such a gift to be able to get that space in between action and reaction and the mind. Um, yeah, that is not 100% or anything like that, but you build on those. I've been building on those moments of like, okay, I was successful here, and now the next one comes sooner than than it did before. So yeah, it took me a long time in the deconditioning process. When Ross says 7 years, for me it was more than 7 years. Uh, and I don't know about anybody else, as far as I don't know about you, you know, how that worked for you. I don't know your story, but anything else?
Yeah, it's like people when they first hear about the 7 years and they're like, what? That's so long. But
Uh,
when you start and you realize how much you have been conditioned and your whole perspective was formed, that's not something you can, like, you start your conditioning already in your mother's womb, like,
yeah.
and it's even hardwired conditioning, which you can never get rid of. And then you get born and you get your family conditioning, social conditioning, cultural conditioning, all of those things. Even if you start, because my child had the opportunity to, I met human design when I was pregnant and I gave birth, or more like I met human design earlier, but I started experimenting only after I gave birth. So my child really had the opportunity to, as from the very beginning, to be treated accordingly. And still, you cannot be pristine unless you live somewhere on the mountain by yourself. We're human, we're social beings, and actually, yeah. What are your observations about that, even with children? I had this conversation recently with somebody, and they're like, "Oh, but when children, they don't get conditioned." Come on, of course they get conditioned.
Uh, um, I've thought about that. I've wondered about myself if I was raised according to my design, and I believe it doesn't. I think Rod called it one time shelf life. It doesn't sit on the shelf so long that they can, and so it seems like, yeah, they're going to be conditioned, um, and we're meant to be conditioned. But what if it's not correct? Then it doesn't sit in the closet or on the shelf so long. Now, you know, I've had emotional crash waves come in, 10, 30, 20, 40 years later on an issue, that I've been holding, and then finally I let it go because it just was time, to see it and to be aware. So I don't know. I think children will be more fluid and flexible since if they were raised according to their type and their design. I mean, that's how I would see it. Um, I know when I don't have children, but when I'm around children and I know, and I always try, especially my nephews and nieces, I look at them and I know what types they are, and that's how I'll treat them. And there is this relaxation that goes on between me and the children. So I imagine there's not so much anxiousness and more relaxation. How do you find it with your child?
I'll start with this, that my child has 8 defined centers.
Mm.
So I'm telling you, if I didn't know about human design,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
gonna be like a total fight all the time.
sure.
Yeah, and also I knew as from the very beginning her PHS, and that she's closed taste, so I knew I should never push anything in her mouth or something like that. So I think I'm like so privileged and so lucky to have the system to help me raise her.
Yeah.
And about her, um, she's emotional and I'm not. And it's not really like I can give her the role model, an example of how you wait for your emotional clarity. She knows about it, but it's up to her to experience life and experiment with what happens. But for sure, it has been, as you say, I don't know what it would have been without human design, because I had it from the very beginning as a tool. But knowing myself and how anxious I was, and with the drama with which my child came into this Maya, it definitely, I'm sure it made a huge difference for me and for her. Yeah.
And you might not be able to see those results, of course, until time. I don't know how old your child is, but
13 years old. She's,
okay.
yeah.
So, yeah, because even I don't care, just being human, those stages you go through life are still the stages you go through, and but I'm sure I can just imagine she'll be very appreciative when she looks back and go, oh wow, she had it good.
I don't know.
That's how I imagine it anyway.
I know that psychologists say that no matter how well you were brought and how nice your parents were, when you go, when you have some issue or some stuff like that, then when you go to the to get support and receive help if you need, they always start with your family. I mean, you can never be without family issues, or it's just normal conditioning. And as you mentioned, it's not about not being conditioned, it's about getting the correct conditioning, the right conditioning, and having your authority to guide you through the whole thing. So what was the difference in your life in this respect?
In correct conditioning, you mean, or following my
Yeah, like the difference between before, when you were conditioned and you didn't have the strategy and authority to keep you like centered, and after.
I was a lot more fearful, um, fearful of other people, because I couldn't grasp quickly who I was with. I have a great sense of safety now, like a safety net, where if I'm confused or I'm not clear, my safety net is wait. Wow, that's all I got to do is wait. I don't have to do anything else. And before that, and still, I'm sure there's different times now, but for the most part, I wait. And then now I'm starting to watch my mind while I wait. It has its stories that I couldn't get until I just went, oh, I'm going to trust waiting. I feel safe waiting until my clarity. And also within my chart, I have the 5720, and that is not so much waiting, it's more in the moment but I discern between this is the right environment, this is the right person, or I'm safe or I'm not safe. This is correct or it's not correct. It's not about decision making, it's about survival and feeling safe that way. But the other one is like I can trust and I can feel safety in trust in that safety of waiting for clarity. And sometimes it comes quickly, sometimes it takes a long, long time. And I really am surrendering to that. And that's a big difference before. Before I was always anxious about, is this right or is it not right? Should I say yes? Somebody's going to not like me, or I'm going to miss out if I don't do this or if I don't do that. And now my mind might still be saying those things, but my body's going, no, no. But also there's times where the mind is reminding me, hey, wait, it's being educated to really work for me rather than against me. Against my correctness is what I meant to say. And so that's a big difference of feeling I have something I can depend upon totally 100%. And the difference between feeling safe in my body and the fear of my mind. Those two things I have really honed the skill of seeing that just by following my strategy and authority. Yeah. And my motivation too.
I love how you explain it about safety. I didn't look at it from this perspective, but actually I feel the same.
Yeah.
It's I knew about the anxiousness, but when you say safety, that's really safety. And so you're with unconscious emotional definition, and yet you sound like so grounded in your clarity. You're like, when I have clarity and I feel safe. How is that process? How did you get to that?
Um, Time, over time and looking back and seeing a pattern of like, oh, yes, that worked, and that doesn't work for me so much anymore. So over time, the clarity comes about waiting for my clarity. Does that make sense? It's like you have a big bubble of waiting, and then within the waiting is another bubble. And so it just took time for me to watch and to try and to experiment. Like, does this work? Is it going to work this time? Oh, it's worked 10 times now in a row, over the years. And like, I think there's something to it. So why don't we just trust it a little more and trust it a little more and trust it a little more and see where I didn't succeed and see where it came back on me that I had to handle this bitterness or this lack of awareness that I took into a situation where, and and so and that didn't feel good. And so I wanted to kind of avoid that, and so I don't have to always feel something like I spoke too much, or I accepted an invitation that wasn't for me, or I'm with somebody that I shouldn't have said yes to, whatever. Those are real learning times. I wasn't seen, I wasn't heard, and I thought I was going to be. And because I said yes, and I've learned not to blame the other person so much as not to really blame anything, is just to see that if this doesn't work. And what does work? Well, what does work is wait for the invitation to be recognized. And over time, you're going to know what that feels like in your body to be recognized. And so that's what grounds me is time in, is that time. And even today, when I hadn't heard from you, right? And I thought, oh, I accepted an invitation. I'm not going to be seen. I mean, I could hear my mind talk, and I went, well, wait just a minute, and let's just take a breath. No matter what it is, you're going to handle it. It's just going to be what it is. And there was not even a minute later, you texted and go, I'm having trouble. But I could see that aspect of me still wanted to come in there to say, you're not being seen, you're not wanted. It's always going to be there. And but that other aspect of me feels stronger now and more grounded in my truth, and that is no matter what, you're going to be fine. Everyone has the ability uniquely to handle their life, to handle what life gives them. Whether my mind is making it up or not, doesn't make a difference. Is that making sense?
Yeah, it is. And I cannot help but wonder, so your husband is with the undefined emotional center, and you guys know each other forever and much before you met human design. Did you start seeing first in him like the lackmus paper, which gives you feedback for where you are on your wave. And my second question would be, did he see the difference in you before and after human design? And how did it affect your relationship?
The first question again, could you ask?
About because you are emotionally defined, but with red unconscious definition. So you as an emotional person would be able to kind of see where you are on your wave, emotional wave. Also seeing how others respond to you, whether they, and especially if they're open with undefined emotion, emotional center, they will be kind of mirroring, right, your state. So my first question was, did you see that after you found out about yourself and you started observing yourself, because it's unconscious, and suddenly you find somewhere in your wave, is your husband the one who was the lackmus paper? Like you could see it in him where you are in your wave.
Yes.
Does it make sense?
Yes, that's a good question. In the beginning, when I was really trying to experiment with um, what was my wave doing, because I could, after a while, I could actually feel it enter the room. It's like it came before me, and if I was feeling really strong, I could feel how it was thicker and heavier, and we're talking more of a strong lower wave. Everybody likes the high wave. And so on purpose, in the very beginning, this is a long time ago, I would look at Steve, and if he was responding like frustrated or confused or whatever, I thought, oh, I must be feeling something. And so then I would check in with myself, like, am I feeling frustration? Because he's exhibiting frustration, and I don't think I'm feeling frustrated. And then I was, but not as much as he was, because he was amplifying it. I went, oh, and it took quite a while for me to know this, because as a projector, I'm always looking at the other, who are you and what's happening? And then that feedback helps me to know me. And it took a while to decondition that between us. And it still can flare up, but at the same time, now we're kind of aware he'll take himself out if he is not in that headspace to hold the space for emotional wave, or out, take myself out away. And then there's times when he's just exquisite. It's just letting me feel what I feel, and but in the beginning, I was really watching him. And I probably could pick that practice back up again. I bet you that would even be go deeper with it. But yeah, it's to be unconscious in your emotional wave, for me, has probably been one of the more difficult things, you know. And having an open G and an open ego, those when that those feelings would come out of the not self mind through those centers. Wow, it was like, I'm not lovable. Something's wrong with me. I'm not enough. I'm not. It makes me want to cry to even think that you could put somebody that's, if somebody doesn't know about that, then they can't get out of it. They're in it, that they're always going to be unlovable, or they're never going to be enough. So that unconscious part of me, through my emotions, the mind would speak to me about in that way, that I wasn't enough. And I feel that's why I felt like I was in a big ocean of emotion when I first heard about human design. And human design was that what do you call it? The cruiser, the ocean liner. Yeah. I speak with my hands a lot, so so yeah, that has helped out a lot. And given the time that we're here, 14 years later, it is very, I was going to say, much easier to recognize what's going on. I'm usually the one recognizing it first because he is an ego manifester, pure ego manifester. And I've had to come to grips with a lot of that. I have to come to an acceptance of, and he's born on the cross of individualism. So I just have had to surrender to expecting more of him than who he is. And so that's been a practice as well over the years. What was the second question?
How did did something change in your relationship, or after you found out about human design, and did it affect it in any way?
It gave more ease, and about within a year and a half, maybe two, we started sleeping apart in separate rooms, and that was huge. That's a big deal. And he's tribal collective, and I'm not tribal. And I knew how he might take it, but because I was the one that said I need to have my own sleep in my own space. And he said, okay, but I knew he was struggling with the old concept of this is what you're supposed to be doing. And of course, we wouldn't have it any different now. But back then, I had to see his responses, which then let me know what was important to me. And my waking up as myself and my the possibility for awareness was more important than anybody, even him. And so that's where I made my decision from. But he helped me see that. He mirrored that back to me of his uncomfortableness wasn't enough for me to say no. Okay, I won't. But it wasn't long, like probably 2 or 3 months after that. So it's been about 12 years since we've been sleeping apart. And we still laugh, talk, love, and have adventures together. And really nothing has changed in that. That keeps us interested in each other.
Yeah, because a lot of people, especially the guys, maybe when they hear from their spouses that they want to sleep alone, and there are all these kinds of issues. So when I have clients,
It is hard, but at the same time,
yeah,
it was so clear to me. So it was very clear that I valued my unique awakening more than I did in what he thought. And that's where you have to be. That's really, I wasn't mean, we weren't mean to each other about it. It's just you could tell that it was breaking apart an old pattern and an old belief system. And that's hard. That's difficult. It really is.
yeah. And were there any other issues at the beginning with when you started practicing human design?
Yeah, there was probably, as a projector, my relationship with him was the hardest one to wait for invitation and to speak. That still is difficult. Um, because first of all, the type that he is, the manifestor doesn't initiate. If he doesn't initiate, just don't, don't say anything. But it's so difficult when I can see things. And but that is my practice. That's where I'm probably the most concentrated in being a projector of waiting to be recognized for what I have to offer in any given conversation or advice or guidance, so to speak. So that was difficult in the beginning, and realizing how much I've been expecting him to know about my feelings. And there was a lot of bitterness that was built up over the years that has been cleansed out. And just by strategy and authority and practicing and experimenting. I can remember him saying one time, you know, I don't mind you having feelings. I just want you to have the right feelings. He just wants the good ones, you know. And and what that did for me is like, well, how can it challenges me to accept all my feelings. So I have other resources as well, you know, of people who can recognize my feelings and handle them. And normally they are the defined people in the emotional center. So because a partner's not going to be everything to you, you know, and to a person. They can't be, because they're their own unique self, you know. So our relationship has been one of great schooling and great adventures. So, you know, each one's going to be unique, I think, and it's going to bring something unique to the world. Yeah, and me being a triple split, I don't need to be all hooked up or everything. I need my freedom to move, to get out there, and so he's not a split, thank goodness. I don't think it would have worked otherwise.
And actually, being a triple split, what is your experience when you're, for instance, during the pandemic when you couldn't
Oh.
move and change different people, different auras, and how was it for you? And how did you cope with it? And did you come up with something creative around to work around that?
Well, we had one other person here during it for about 4 months. And so there were 3 people here, a generator, manifester, projector, and we could all sleep out of each other's auras, but it got to the point where I could feel myself just clog up with stuff that I couldn't get rid of. So I would actually go out into the world and walk around shopping malls. I would be the only one out there, right? Because nobody else was doing it. I thought, oh, and it felt good to feel myself away from all the other auras. But it was difficult not to be able to move through strangers' auras, you know. There was a group of men, construction workers, that I walked by and I could feel, oh, I feel so good, you know. Then I would go out onto a golf course and I'd be the only one out there, and I would just like touch trees and lay down on the green, and so nature really helped me out a lot. And I would talk to the trees so I could hear myself speak. And so that helped, but there's nothing like moving through other people, you know, out in the public for a triple split, just to move through. But I would be the one going to the grocery store. So that was a relief as well. So, but then also I'm a 4th line, so I'm thinking, oh, you know, I don't want to, I don't want to get anything. I don't want to give anybody anything, but I did it and it was all good. It was okay. It was hard.
I love what you say. I don't want to give anybody anything.
know.
And
It's not up to me, I guess.
no, but then I remember Ra talking about the flu epidemic or something, and the bird flu, and in one of his lectures, and he was saying, so in case there is an epidemic, you should not put everybody in. You should just put the ones with the 4th line. In the 26th or the 44th gate on a 4th line, because those are the ones who will be spreading it, you know.
To stay away from them, right?
No, to put them, to close them.
Oh, to put them together.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that because those are the people who will be spreading it. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, I'm 26 for 2 times.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's
Yeah. So no, because there is this connection between human and birds exactly on the 26/4. Uh
Oh,
2644, excuse me. Yeah. So um yeah, exactly. So now that you're saying it, I don't want to give it to somebody. That's
that's funny.
exactly it. Yeah. And I wonder indeed that you say a fourth line and da da da. Actually, can you tell us more about uh your network, and what do you do when you get how is the balance between the four and the two? The hermit and are you more hermit, or you're more social, or it takes
It
turns, or how is it?
takes turns. It
Yeah.
goes in cycles, yeah. Um, Lately I've been more of a hermit, but in my first part of my experiment, I over the years I would really look at my second line and determine, was it because my motivation is need and my transference is fear, and but I would really take a look at my second line personality, like, was I hermiting because it was correct, or is because I felt shy or not enough, less than, not lovable, all those things that speak through my open G and my open ego. And I found that there was a big difference between the two. There was times when I didn't go out because I felt not enough, so I would hide. And the other times was like, no, this is good for me, like, um, so I'm in a cycle now where people are calling me out now. And for quite a while, a lot of my network is far away. Some in Bulgaria, and they're in other states, and I often wondered about that. And so where I live, I used to have quite a network, and then it shifted and changed, um, and now it's coming back again. But it's coming back with the younger people are are coming to me. Before it was my peers, same age people. Now it's different. And so there's times when I think, oh, I feel so lonely, nobody wants me, you know, why isn't anybody calling me? And then I thought, well, what if they did call you? You probably wouldn't want to go. So it is a push and a pull between the 2 and the 4. And you just have to know what's behind being friendly or what's behind hiding or being a hermit. Is it the right energy frequency or the energy behind being a hermit? And that's a practice to learn. And that's following strategy and authority. That's
Yeah.
it. Oh, you can just trust that. So
Yeah. When people hear constantly being repeated, like follow strategy and authority, follow strategy and authority, and they're like, oh, but can't you tell us something else? Well, guys, it's really on the surface. That's all. That's it. And it's that simple.
it's that simple. It really, really is. And I don't mind if people roll their eyes, can't, strategy and authority. It's like that is something you can trust. That's the safety in this world for you, for anybody who chooses to experiment with it. If you do, I say you're gonna. I found, and I've seen so many other people find that that is something they can trust, and then I can trust you for following your strategy and authority, and you can trust me, my truth. You can trust my truth. You might not like it, but at least you can trust it, and and so there's a lot less wondering or fear that I'm hiding something when my truth is this, um, yeah. And I enjoy people who really know their truth, through their strategy and authority. And it may seem weird, It may seem something foreign to me. It may but so what? I can still trust that it's weird to me. I can still trust that it's foreign, but it's okay.
Now that you're saying that it feels good to be able to trust the other person, that they're also following their truth. You know, actually, I had these thoughts recently because I'm communicating with a lot of people who are in human design. And I was like, because my mind is left, like I'm three times right and one left, and that's my mind. And I can observe those thoughts sometimes, and I'm like, wow, now I can expect everything from this person. And in a way, it's because you talked about safety, and in a way, it's actually not safe because you can expect everything.
That's
But
true.
on the other hand, it's as you said, it's trustworthy, and you rather have the truth than some phony agreement or whatever. And on the other hand, it makes it so much more interesting because you know, you never expect uniqueness. It's always surprising.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and it can be scary, or it could be like say foreign, but at the same time, you have your safety. We have our safety is our strategy and authority. So there's really nothing else really on the surface that you need to know. And actually, if I'm not sure, if I'm not clear, and another person is, well, that doesn't make it, I'm not. So there's my safety, and it does make life interesting. And you're right, it is surprising, and it can be unsettling to have somebody being who they are, because I don't recognize it a lot because I'm not around a lot of people that are, and in the physical sense. Online, yeah, I think you can see more of that, like in Zoom, like between us, or at the festival. But even then, it's just a place to learn when you're not truly who you are and when you are. It's the place to learn. And a big thing that I have learned over the years is to really have a sense of humor, and to laugh at myself and to chuckle, like, oh, there I go again. Oh yeah, I really fucked up, whoops. I'm going to apologize where I need to apologize, but I'm not going to lose the love of myself because of it. My earlier self, it would really wound me to be wrong, or to not be honest or whatever. It still does if I don't. And I still have a lot of cleanup work to do, but it's okay. It gives you something to do till your last breath. um, yeah, I have learned a sense of humor. And that's another thing between in my marriage, we have a much more big sense of humor about messing with each other, and ourselves. So that's another thing human design practice has brought into my life. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, it can make us really experience something that we might have never allowed ourselves to. When you deal with people from all parts of society, all parts of all rounds of life, and it's the uniqueness and the abundance of what everybody brings, it can be so inspiring. But you know, when you're with human design people, and when you mentioned the festival and stuff, you really have the chance to be in a safe place and experiment. And maybe this is the time to say, you know, this is an experiment, guys. It's not a test.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
important.
That's very important. That's good. That's a good point. Yeah, it is an experiment and a sense of curiosity, like I'm curious, about it. I'm curious. And a sense of humor. Those two things will lighten things up. Just look at it like, oh, I never saw that. I never heard that before. Or what I'm curious, why am I feeling this? Why am I because I can tell when bitterness comes, it comes in a flash sometimes for me, and I can be curious, like, oh, well, what's going on? Something's going on. I don't know what's going on, and to be curious about it rather than, oh no, I failed. I'm bitter. No, that's just a way to learn, and whoever you were with might be able to teach you something because they're, you or an aura or your connection, whatever they might have said or looked, the way they looked is a way to learn as a projector about yourself. And not just as a projector, everyone can learn that way, but projectors are here to learn about themselves through the other. We are here to learn about ourselves, not just as directly as the generator is. And yeah, and that's something that I have come to accept. A long time, that pissed me off. It just really pissed me off that I had to go, who are you, so I can learn about myself. It's like, but it really is true. At least for me, I found it to be true. And who I have in my life is very important. Extremely important.
Did you become more sensitive with time?
Yes. Yeah. And it still takes me. I mean, it's not instantaneous. As a fourth line body, as a fourth line being, you don't know. It takes time, to see what's under what the person's, what they're saying or how they look for me. And I have to accept that. Not have to, I've come to accept that. And it's okay. I grow more and more to really love how I'm built. And for a while in the beginning, the HD community would say, "Oh, you're a triple split. I'm sorry." It's like something was wrong with me. And I get to see the world through many different views within my own design as a triple split. Like, oh, each one is whole in and of itself. Yeah, it does take time for them all to connect up. I can't rush it. I can't hurry it, and because I suffer. Suffering does help you get back on track.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to suffer.
Wow. I really love your wisdom and the way you were bringing up things in a very simplified way, which actually shows the depthness of your realizations and awareness. Yeah. Wow. That was an amazing hour we spent together.
Wow, that went fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear, I really wish we could see again now. I have all these questions that come up in my mind, and I was also thinking about Stephen and how you guys were when we were together live. But that's what life is about. So we'll see what the cat drags in, and
Yeah.
maybe we meet each other again in Aura.
would
So
like.
are there any like maybe you want to address the fellow projectors, and if you have to give them a guidance of how to go on with handling their experiment and their loved ones and their tribe and people around them, what would your advice be to how to go on with their experiment, knowing that they have also those other people, which the close ones, which are expecting them to stay the way they always were?
Yes. Well, again, I'm going to come back to strategy and authority, and your motivation is important to know who pulls you out of your motivation. And it just because they do that doesn't mean they're not for you. It's just not in that right time. It's more about just, it's not about becoming anything. It's about just lifting up the veil, lifting up what you already are, the perfection of your unique design. And that not to be too serious, like, oh no, I messed up. Oh, I spoke when I wasn't supposed to speak, or I accepted the wrong invitation, or whatever. That that's all part of the learning process, and that you didn't do anything wrong. You're not wrong, and you're not right. You just are. And that you follow your strategy and authority, it will be revealed over time. And it might be revealed quicker than the next person, like me. It took me quite a bit, but it doesn't matter. That will be your safety net to deal with others, to be with others. That is the formula. And I'm sorry, this is who's ever listening to it, that it might be a boring thing, but it's not. It is so important to hone that skill of experimenting with your strategy and authority when you're with other people, and it will reveal who's with you and who's against you, who's not for you. And it also will reveal about what you're feeling when bitterness comes up. That will be your teacher. And then when you feel successful, then you start to feel in your body like, oh yeah, I'm lit up. Somebody's inviting me. And if your emotional weight, don't do it right away. If you're the splenic, which is a mystery to me, but to to follow that soft little voice, you know. And there's so many different kinds of hear yourself speak if you're a mental projector. Have trusted people that you can hear yourself speak, and to see what your truth is. And the G, just follow that G wherever it goes. And yeah, um, I and know that we're the first of our kind to do this, and we're so brave to do it and to just keep going. We're the first. And so if people get frustrated with you or don't understand, too bad. Just keep going with your strategy and authority. Yeah. Don't let anybody else tell you anything else. Don't let anybody tell you anything about who you are, and learn from that. Yeah.
Actually, I have another question. You mentioned that Randy Richmond was one of your teachers, and he's also a projector. And sadly, he passed away recently. And I don't know him personally, and yet he touched me really deeply with the different videos I saw of him. Looks like a person with a very um, um, big sense of humor. He can be so ironic, also with himself. Would you tell us a few words about him? And
Oh, wow. Yeah. He was just so cut, and he wasn't dry. He had a big sense of humor, and it called my sense of humor out. And so we would banter back and forth, and no matter what I said, I would worry that I would say the wrong thing or somebody would take it wrong. He was so set within himself that it was pure. And so I could say anything I wanted and it wouldn't affect him. And in that way, because he could hold his own self, he was solid within himself. The sense of humor and the bluntness, the forwardness of it, like, just shut up, Lily. When you go into a group, just shut up, right? And see what that does. Now, there could be a part of me that went, oh, I've been told to shut up my whole life, and I'm really hurt. But I went, it went into my very cells, like, I know what you mean. I know that. I know what you're talking about. And I practiced that. And it really, really helped. And then he also told me, he said how he is designed, the frequency of his voice can come, it can go into the cells and come months or years later. And I found that to be very true. It's like, whoa. He said that to me 3 years ago, and I can feel it now. I can feel it inside me, that it's come to be my experience. And I thought that was very powerful because I didn't know what he meant at the time, but it was very true. There might be people out there that could say, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I know for me it was true. And he really helped me cut away all the crap and just say, this, this, with humor. It's like, okay, all right. And that's what he gave me. He's helped set, I think when you're starting out to get the right person, to really wait to fit when you feel it, to guide you, to help set your feet on the right path. He really helped set my course. Like, okay, I'm a projector. And this is the type I am. And I'm going to experiment with it. Is it true? We'll see. And it was, so yeah. He was delightful.
Great.
I was really sad to hear of his death.
Yeah.
I wish I could have met Rob, but
Yeah. Well, a lot of us wish we could have met him. Didn't you ever meet him in your dreams?
I have. A long time ago, he was in my dreams. Have you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Had a conversation with him.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
What is your type?
I'm a pure generator.
Your generator.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this was lovely. Thank you so much for kind of showing us in your cave. Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling it out of me. That was lovely. I had no clue
Yeah.
what was going to be talking.
Amazing.
Yeah. So have the most successful, peaceful, satisfying, surprising time, over this time. And I think you can come in on portions of it, right? Of the
Yeah, yeah. There are also single tickets, and you mean the festival that you can
pick and choose what
yeah, yeah, yeah. You can also come in portions. Yeah. We've opened all the possibilities. We try to be really inclusive. So there is something for everybody and for every budget. Human design is for these times. And we live in a very chaotic world right now with a lot of challenges. But, we're here not only to survive, but really thrive and
Yeah.
being ourselves.
Yeah.
Human design can be a tool that allows us to do it.
So if you're called, answer the call for sure. I read one time a call it is instability. When you step out of your normal life, there is a certain amount of instability because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what you're going to face, but there is a core aspect that faces that instability. And the strategy and authority helped me get in touch with that core aspect and to trust it and to to not doubt it at all. You know, I hope that I always hope that when there's a time that might come up that that it throws me off center, that I'll come back quickly through the strategy and authority. Yeah. I'll
So
remember.
guys, this was Lily, Susan, Lash for the Human Design Rave Festival 2024. Online, worldwide. You can connect from everywhere around the world, wherever you are, or hop on the plane and come to Sofia, Bulgaria for these lovely 6 days from the 17th to the 22nd of January. And if you cannot come as from the very beginning, hop on over for the weekend. We also have weekend tickets. And on the 22nd of January, we're going to celebrate together the Rave New Year with lots of fun. We have amazing cast of speakers, of teachers, of artists. And as you can see, we also bring to you people from all around the world to share their story. Thank you, Lily, for sharing yours
Thank
today
you for inviting me. It was amazing. Thank you.
with us. And actually, you're the last interview before the festival. So we're kind of closing with you. And during the days of the festival, we're gonna air it. So you're gonna be with us. Thank you again, and bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for being with us on this journey at the Human Design Rave Festival 2024.